There's a pretty good chance that someone on your team is using AI to get their work done, like right now. And while they're getting a nice little productivity boost, your company might be getting exposed to a huge amount of risk. So in this explainer, we're going to show you how to find that hidden chaos and turn it into a real strategic advantage.
So let's just start with a direct question for every leader listening. Do you really, truly know what AI tools your employees are firing up every single day? If you're hesitating even for a second, you are definitely not alone. But it's a huge sign that it is time to start paying attention. And this whole thing actually has a name. It's called shadow AI. It's basically the unapproved, totally unmanaged use of AI tools by people who are just trying to do their jobs faster. And on the surface, it seems totally harmless, right? But this is where the trouble really begins. Now, just look at this example. A product manager summarizes a deck. It sounds completely normal, right? Something that happens a dozen times a day. But think about what's really happening here. That super sensitive internal company data is now sitting on some third-party server completely outside of your control. This isn't theoretical. This is happening every single day. And we're not talking about some obscure software here. We're talking about the tools your team is probably already using. AI writers built into the browser, apps that transcribe meetings, PDF summarizers. I mean, every single one of these, when it's used without any oversight, is a potential data leak. It's a compliance nightmare waiting to happen. It's a crack in your company's foundation. So, what are the real, tangible consequences of all this chaos? Well, it's not just about risk. It's about failure on a, frankly, massive scale. Take a look at this number. According to research from MIT, a staggering 95% of enterprise AI projects fail to deliver any return on investment. Just let that sink in for a moment. 95%. All that time, all that money, pretty much gone. And what's really fascinating is why. It's not a technology problem. And that's the crucial point. The fault isn't with the AI models themselves. They work. The problem is organizational. Companies are just trying to bolt AI onto old ways of doing things instead of actually changing their culture and their processes to use it properly. And that gap, that's where all the value just evaporates. And that organizational gap, it leads to some very real and very expensive problems. You can see here that industries like finance and manufacturing are getting hit the hardest by data breaches. And those are exactly the kinds of places where one single, unmanaged AI interaction with sensitive data can end up costing millions. These failures, they almost always look the same. The projects start without a clear goal, the data is a total mess, different teams aren't talking to each other, and then there's my personal favorite, the impressive demo that looks amazing in a PowerPoint, but is completely useless to the actual people who are supposed to use it every day. Okay, so how do we actually fix this? The solution doesn't start with the technology. It starts with your people. It all begins with building a solid foundation of AI literacy across your entire organization. And luckily, the US Department of Labor has laid out this fantastic 5-step framework. And look, this isn't about turning everyone into a data scientist. Not at all. It's about creating a shared baseline understanding. You need to know what AI is, see where it can help, learn how to talk to it, be able to judge if its answers are any good, and this is the big one, use it responsibly. This visual right here, this is the whole idea in a nutshell. AI literacy isn't about replacing people. It's about creating a powerful partnership. The goal is to teach your teams how to balance the incredible analytical power of the machine with their own uniquely human judgment and real-world context. When you get this right, your entire workforce changes. Every single employee can start answering these 3 critical questions for themselves. They can spot opportunities to use AI, they can critically evaluate what it spits out, and they can proactively think about how their own job is going to evolve. Now that is a massive competitive edge. So you've got the people side covered, but that's only half the battle. Because education alone isn't enough. Once your people understand the why, you have to give them the how. You need to put the right technical guardrails in place. And that's where something called an AI gateway comes in. Honestly, this is the best analogy I've ever heard for it. An AI gateway is basically an air traffic control tower for all the AI requests happening inside your company. It sees every single request, directs it to the right place, and makes absolutely sure nothing crashes. To put it simply, it's one central platform that sits between your employees and all the different AI models out there in the world. It replaces the total chaos of trying to manage dozens of different tools and APIs with one single point of control. A gateway really does give you total control. It's routing all the requests, it's managing all your secret keys in one place, it's optimizing for cost and speed, it's enforcing your security policies, and it's letting you see exactly who is using what, when, and why. It's the whole shebang. And the really great news here is you do not have to build this thing from scratch. As you can see, there's a whole ecosystem of these solutions that already exist, and they're built for different needs, from huge enterprises to tiny developer teams. The point is, this is a solved problem. You just have to pick the right tool for your company. All right, so you've educated your team and you've installed the technical controls. Now for the final and most exciting step, turning that solid foundation into a strategic cycle that actually drives real business value. Here's what the most successful companies are doing. They don't treat AI as a one-time project. They treat it as a continuous cycle. First, they audit what's actually being used. Then they plan new projects around that. They govern the tools, they pilot small but really impactful ideas, and they constantly train their people. Then they just repeat the cycle, getting smarter and more efficient every single time. And look, getting started with this doesn't have to break the bank. You can often get these really high-impact pilot projects off the ground for a pretty modest investment. The goal here is just to get some quick wins, build confidence, and prove the value of this approach before you go and scale it up. This right here, this is the big mindset shift. The goal isn't just to have dozens of disconnected AI tools automating little random tasks. That's a problem some people are calling agent sprawl. No, the real goal is to use AI to transform an entire business workflow from start to finish in a way that you can actually measure on your profit and loss statement. I think this quote from TechCXO just says it all, doesn't it? It is not about being first to the party. It's about being smart. The companies that are going to win in this new era are the ones who moved deliberately, the ones who turned all that chaos into a well-oiled strategic machine. Look, you can't put this genie back in the bottle. Your employees are going to use AI whether you have a policy for it or not. The only real choice you have is whether you're going to let it happen in the shadows or if you're going to step up and lead it. So the only question left is, where are you going to start?